Hello everyone. In this session, we are going to discuss an important topic that is amyloidosis. Now, usually you get a long question on amyloidosis, so you have to write everything about it. But sometime in your university exams, you get short question on particular type of amyloid like AL, AA. So you have to write that part of the amyloid only. And usually you get a short question on the staining characteristics or diagnosis, especially the Congo red appearance of the amyloid. So I will discuss that also. So we are going to discuss everything about the amyloidosis so that you can answer any question which is asked in your university exam from this topic. So let's start it. So let's start the topic amyloidosis. You can see here we are starting the topic that is amyloidosis. So first of all, I will let you know the definition of amyloidosis. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by amyloidosis? Then I will let you know its physical nature. Then I will let you know the various types of amyloidosis and then we will classify it. We will do the classification based on two things, two criteria. The first classification is based on the cause and the second classification is based on the extent to which the amyloid is deposited in human body, whether it is localized or systemic. Then out of the various types of amyloid I will discuss here, two I will discuss in detail, the two ultra important on which you get a separate short question sometime. AL and AA. I will let you know the pathogenesis of each of them. So you are frequently asked the pathogenesis of AL or AA in your exam separately. Then I will let you know the diagnosis of amyloid. In the diagnosis, the most important thing is the staining characteristics. There are 5 staining characteristics, but the most important among them is Congo red. So I will discuss here Congo red separately. And finally, we will see the various organs affected in the amyloid. So if you are getting a long question, my advice to all of you to learn this overview, because inside the overview, I will explain you everything and it is conceptual. You will understand it. You don't have to mug up. You don't have to mug up anything here. But in your exam, when the long question is coming now, you don't remember the headings under which you have to describe your answer. So my advice to all the second prof university exam aspirants is that learn this overview so that if amyloid long question is coming in your exam, before starting your answer, you should make an overview in your mind that I'm going to write my answer under these headings. So always write your answer, especially the long answer, in particular headings and subheadings if you want to get a gold medal or distinction in your exam. So let's start amyloidosis. So first I will let you know the definition of amyloidosis. What is amyloidosis? Now amyloidosis is a disease. Amyloidosis is a disease in which an abnormal protein, that is amyloid, get deposited in various organs of human body. So normally we don't have amyloid. I don't have amyloid in my blood, in my body. You don't have amyloid. Any normal healthy individual do not have amyloid in them. So amyloid is the abnormal protein. I'm having albumin in my blood. I'm having globulin in my blood. So albumin, globulin, these are the normal protein we are having in our blood vessel. We are having albumin, we are having globulin. These are soluble in our blood. Amyloid is the abnormal protein that is insoluble in blood. That is insoluble. That is insoluble. It's the abnormal protein. It's not normal. It is formed in certain individuals only. So it is insoluble. Why it is insoluble? Because it is having some structural abnormality in its secondary structure. You know, protein have 3 structures: primary, secondary, tertiary. So there is certain structural abnormalities in its secondary structure which makes it insoluble. Now since it is insoluble in the blood, it is insoluble. Amyloid is a protein which is insoluble. So it is not present in the blood. Because it is insoluble, now it comes out and get deposited in various organs. So amyloid is deposited in various organs. And these are the cells of various organs. So in various organs, the amyloid get deposited extracellularly in various organs because it is insoluble. So it compresses the cells of various organs, multiple organs, and it produces symptoms because of that. So that is the disease amyloidosis. So what is amyloidosis? Amyloidosis is the disease in which, don't learn, please understand the definition. Amyloidosis is a disease in which an abnormal protein, the name of the abnormal protein is amyloid. This abnormal protein is formed in human body. What is abnormality in that? The abnormality is that there is some problem in the secondary structure. Abnormality in the secondary structure which makes it insoluble. Now since it is insoluble, it get out of the blood and get deposited in various tissues, various organs, but it get deposited extracellularly. For example, this is any organ. Let me draw organ. This is the organ and these are the cells of that organ. This organ can be any organ. It can be heart, adrenal, kidney, tongue, any organ. Now here where is the amyloid deposited? The amyloid is deposited extracellularly. Let me draw it. So it is depositing here. It is depositing extracellularly like this. You're getting it? It is depositing extracellularly like this, and it is compressing the cells of that organ. So that organ produces the symptoms, that organ produces the failure and the symptoms. So amyloidosis is a multi-organ involvement. So you can write down the definition in your own words, in your own language. So amyloidosis is a condition in which an abnormal protein, that is amyloid, is formed. It abnormally gets deposited extracellularly between the cells of various organs or various tissue. So what is the abnormality in this protein? Amyloid is an abnormal protein which is having some problem in the secondary structure, because of which it is insoluble, and that's why it is getting deposited extracellularly. See, this is the diagram of a normal brain. See, normal brain. You can appreciate the boundaries of the neuron. These all are neurons, and the background is the stroma. Now see the brain in the amyloidosis. In the amyloidosis, you can appreciate this is amyloid. The amyloid is forming the plaques and getting deposited extracellularly, and it is compressing the neurons and producing the symptoms. So amyloidosis of the brain usually occurs in Alzheimer's disease. Alzheimer's can act as a trigger for that. Got my point? The same thing is shown to you here. You can see the neuron. You can see this is the amyloid. You can see the multiple amyloid form together and they form a plaque, and it is compressing the neuron extracellularly. I insist the word extracellularly, and that's why it is producing the symptom. So appreciate the neuron, appreciate the amyloid, appreciate it is forming a plaque, appreciate it is coming and compressing the neuron. So the multiple neurons are compressed here. Multiple neurons are compressed and it produces the symptoms. So that is the thing. So we are done with the definition till now. After definition, I want to tell you the physical nature of amyloid. So how to see the amyloid? What is the structure of the amyloid? What is the shape of the amyloid? How does it look like? So we use two techniques. If we see the amyloid through electron microscopy, it looks like elongated fibrils like this, which are non-branching, which are straight, which are non-branching. What is the length? The length is indefinite length fibrils, non-branching fibrils. And what is the diameter? Let me draw the diameter. What is the diameter of each fibril? The diameter of each fibril is 7.5 to 10 nanometer. That is the diameter. The length of each fibril is indefinite, and it is non-branching. There is no branching. Non-branching fibrils are there. So say it is the multiple fibrils which are non-branching. The length is indefinite and the diameter is 7.5 to 10 nanometer. So that is the structure which is seen on electron microscopy. You can appreciate it here. Appreciate this fibril. Appreciate they are non-branching. Appreciate the length is indefinite and the diameter is 7.5 to 10 nanometer. So non-branching fibrils with 7.5 to 10 nanometer diameter and indefinite length. Write down all four properties. This is seen on electron microscopy. But if we see the amyloid on X-ray crystallography or infrared spectrometry, then we see a beta pleated sheath structure. Can you see this is a beta pleated sheath structure? It is not in the form of the fibrils. We see a beta pleated sheath structure. So please learn. So there are two different modalities on which we are looking the structure of amyloid. So to see the physical nature or structure of amyloid, which modality you are using? It depends on that. Are you using electron microscopy? Then what is the diagram? Or if you are using X-ray crystallography or infrared spectrometry, what is the diagram in that case? So here the diagrams are different. Here on electron microscopy, it is looking like long fibrils, which are indefinite in length, which are non-branching, and the diameter of each fibril here is 7.5 to 10 nanometer. On X-ray crystallography, it looks like a beta pleated sheath structure. Three-dimensional beta pleated sheath structure. Say beta pleated sheath structure. So please learn it. So that is the structure. So we have seen two things till now. Amyloidosis. We know the definition of amyloidosis and we know its physical structure of amyloid on electron microscopy as well as X-ray crystallography and infrared spectrometry. We know that. So till now we have studied that. Do you know the definition? Yes, I guess you know the definition. It's the abnormal disease in which abnormal protein amyloid get deposited extracellularly in multiple organs. Do you know the physical nature? Here answer is fibril, which are elongated, indefinite length, non-branching. The diameter is 7.5 to 10 nanometer. And here it is sheath. Beta pleated sheath structure, not a fibril. It is a sheath. So that is the summary till now. Now coming on the next is various types of amyloidosis. How many type of amyloidosis are there? There are many type of amyloidosis, out of which the first two are ultra important. I will discuss these two in detail. So let's start with the various types of amyloidosis. The first is AL. What is the full form of AL? A is always amyloid. A is always amyloid. So A amyloid, L is light chain. L is light chain. So it is made up of light chain. Light chain. So always all type of amyloidosis have some trigger which leads to this disease. So what is the trigger? You have to tell me trigger in each case. So here the trigger is plasma cell dyscrasia like multiple myeloma. So any individual who is having multiple myeloma can have AL type of amyloid in future. So the patient is having multiple myeloma. In future, the person can have AL type of amyloid. The second is AA. The first A is amyloid. The second A is associated protein. Amyloid associated protein. It is made up of serum amyloid associated protein. It is secreted by liver. It is seen in chronic inflammatory conditions like TB, bronchiectasis, rheumatoid arthritis, anything. So any chronic inflammatory disease, the person can have amyloid in future. Which type of amyloid? AA. So I will give the details of these two right now. Let me first tell you the various types. Then the first two I will give you in detail, the pathogenesis. The third is A beta 2 microglobulin. What is A? A is amyloid. Beta 2 microglobulin. A beta 2 microglobulin. It is seen in patients who are on hemodialysis. So imagine a person in which bilateral renal failure is there. Both the kidneys are non-functional. So person is on hemodialysis since last 5 years, 10 years. So after many years of hemodialysis, person have amyloidosis. Because this is the trigger. Chronic hemodialysis is the trigger. And that will lead to amyloidosis, A beta 2 microglobulin amyloidosis. So that you have to learn. Imagine a person who is having polyneuropathy or who is having senile cardiomyopathy. The person is 80-year-old and person is having senile cardiomyopathy or polyneuropathy. Such person will have amyloidosis in future. Which type of amyloidosis? It is known as ATTR. What is the ATTR? A is amyloid. What is TTR? Transthyretin. Transthyretin. So this is the spelling. Transthyretin. So here I am saying this is TTR. Transthyretin. We call it TTR. So it is made up of TTR. TTR is transthyretin. Please learn. So ATTR. It is made up of ATTR. So transthyretin is there. Imagine a person who is having Alzheimer's. Imagine a person who is having Alzheimer's. In future, the person can have amyloidosis. The name of this amyloidosis is A beta. Now don't get confused in A beta to beta 2 microglobulin and A beta. This is only A beta. It is made up of A beta protein precursor. So these 5 are ultra important, which are frequently asked in your exam. Apart from that, we have few others also, but these 5 are ultra important. So can you tell me the trigger? Can you tell me the various trigger? Tell me which type of amyloid occur in multiple myeloma or plasma cell dyscrasia patient. Tell me which type of amyloidosis occurs in chronic inflammation. Okay, tell me which type of amyloidosis occurs in hemodialysis patient. Tell me which type of amyloidosis occurs in senile cardiomyopathy patients or polyneuropathy patients. Polyneuropathy. And tell me which type of amyloidosis occurs in Alzheimer's disease patient. So this is the trigger. They all can have amyloidosis in future, but the amyloid will be different. This is the trigger. So any person who is having multiple myeloma, plasma cell dyscrasia, chronic inflammation, the person is on hemodialysis since many years, the person is having senile cardiomyopathy, the person is having polyneuropathy or Alzheimer's disease. They all can have amyloidosis in future, but the amyloid type will be different. So tell me the type of the amyloid. So in multiple myeloma, it's amyloid light chain. In chronic inflammation, it's amyloid associated protein. In hemodialysis, it's amyloid beta 2 microglobulin. In senile cardiomyopathy, it's amyloid transthyretin. Okay. And in Alzheimer's, it's amyloid beta, not beta 2 microglobulin. Now tell me the precursor from which they are formed. They all are formed from something. Now tell me the protein from which it is formed. Amyloid light chain is made up of light chain. It is made up of light chain. Amyloid associated. Light chain is made up of light chain. Associated is made up of serum amyloid associated protein. Amyloid beta 2 microglobulin is made up of beta 2 microglobulin. As simple as that. Amyloid transthyretin is made up of transthyretin. As simple as that. And amyloid beta is made up of beta protein, beta precursor protein. So basically the name is from the precursor is itself there in the name. So you have to tell me 3 things. Number 1, you have to tell me the trigger, the various diseases in which amyloid is seen. Then you have to tell me the type of amyloid, and then you have to tell me the precursor from which it is formed, the precursor. So this 5 you have to learn at the tip of your tongue, out of which these 2 I will explain you in detail. Apart from that, we have 4 more type of amyloid that you have to just learn the names. Don't go in the detail. Okay. Now imagine a person who is having spongiform encephalopathy. You know what is spongiform encephalopathy? It's a disease of the brain which comes from the animals, which occurs in the animals and comes from the animals. So spongiform encephalopathy, here the prion protein will make amyloid PRP. PRP is prion. So the person who is having spongiform encephalopathy can have amyloidosis in future. Which type of amyloidosis? Amyloidosis prion protein. It is made up of prion protein. The person who is having medullary carcinoma of thyroid can have amyloidosis in future. So the type of amyloid is amyloid calcitonin. It is made up of calcitonin. The person who is having type 2 diabetes can have amyloidosis in future. It is the type amyloid islet amyloid polypeptide. Islet amyloid polypeptide. And the person who is having isolated atrial amyloid can have amyloidosis, which is known as amyloid and atrial natriuretic factor, ANF. So that is the various types you can understand. These are the types of amyloid. In your exam, you have to write. So this is the types. Now coming on the classification of the amyloidosis. So let me tell you 2 type of classification of amyloidosis. The first classification is based on the cause, and the second classification is based on the extent the amyloid get deposited in human body. Based on the cause, there are 2 type of amyloid, primary and secondary. What is primary? In primary, the cause is not known. The cause is not known. The amyloid get deposited in various organs and cause is not known. For example, AL. And in secondary, the cause is known. It occurs as a complication of some underlying disease. Like in AA, it occurs as a complication of chronic inflammatory disorder. So here cause is not known and here cause is known. That is primary versus secondary. And the second type of classification is based on the extent amyloid get deposited in human body. Now the amyloid can deposit in particular one organ or it can deposit in multiple organs. So it can be localized, it can be systemic. Localized means amyloid deposited in one organ, and systemic means amyloid get deposited in multiple organs. So here I taught you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 type of amyloid. Out of the 9 type, in the 5 type, out of the 9, in these 5 type, amyloid is localized, deposited in one organ. And in these 4, amyloid get deposited in multiple organs. So total 9 are there. So first learn the 9 types. Out of them, the 5 are localized and 4 of them are systemic. So which 5 are localized? Like A beta, here Alzheimer's disease, so amyloid get deposited only in brain. The same with spongiform encephalopathy, the amyloid get deposited, the prion amyloid get deposited only in brain. In medullary carcinoma of thyroid, the amyloid get deposited only in thyroid. In type 2 diabetes, amyloid get deposited only in pancreas. And in atrial natriuretic factor amyloid, the amyloid get deposited only in heart. So one organ is involved. That is localized. Now coming on the systemic, in AL, AA, amyloid get deposited in multiple organs, A beta 2 microglobulin and ATTR. It is deposited in multiple organs. So my advice to you, first you learn the 9 types. First you learn the 9 types. You have to learn the 9 types of the amyloid. Okay, and after that, 4 of them are systemic and 5 of them are localized. So what are the 9 type of amyloid? Can you enumerate? First is amyloid light chain. The second is amyloid associated. The second one. The third one is amyloid beta 2 microglobulin. With this only you can learn amyloid beta, only beta. And with this you can learn amyloid TTR, transthyretin. These 5 are ultra important. The next 4 are not very important, but you have to learn. Amyloid prion protein, PRP, prion protein, amyloid prion protein. The next is amyloid cal is calcitonin. So this is amyloid cal. The next is amyloid islet cell. So islet cell amyloid. So it is seen in type 2 diabetes. And last one is amyloid atrial natriuretic factor. So it is ANF. So learn these 4. So total 9 type of amyloid are there, out of which 4 are systemic. This one, and I guess this one and this one. These 2 are systemic, and these 5 are localized. Here the amyloid get deposited in one organ. So this is the classification we have seen. After the classification, the first 2 I'm going to give you detail as I told you. So let me give you the detail of AL and AA. You get a separate question on them. Let's start with AL. What do you mean by AL? Amyloid light chain. What happens now? You tell me this is the beta cell. This is the B lymphocyte in human body. I'm sorry, this is B lymphocyte. There are 2 types of lymphocytes in human body, T lymphocyte and B lymphocyte. This is B lymphocyte. What does B lymphocyte do? Whenever the foreign particle, the antigen is coming, the B lymphocyte gets converted to plasma cell. The B lymphocyte get converted to plasma cell. We know that. And plasma cell form the antibodies. How does the plasma cell form antibody? What is the structure of antibody? We all know that in an antibody there are 2 light chain and 2 heavy chain. This antibody is known as immunoglobulin. This is immunoglobulin, and this will bind with the antigen. So this is the antibody. I mean, this is the immunoglobulin having 2 light chain and 2 heavy chain. It will go and bind with the antigen. So the complete thing is happening when the antigen is entering. So it will go and bind with the antigen and destroy the antigen. Phagocytosis occurs. So opsonization occurs. This is how things takes place. Now here in multiple myeloma, imagine a person having multiple myeloma or plasma cell dyscrasia. Imagine a person having multiple myeloma or plasma cell dyscrasia. So here the B lymphocytes are mutated. So here the plasma cells which are formed from the B lymphocytes, they are also mutated. You will say, ma'am, what is the defect in them? B lymphocytes are mutated, plasma cells are mutated because the person is having multiple myeloma, you are saying. So these are mutated, have we got it? But what's the problem? What's the problem here? Normally, when the antigen is coming, plasma cell form immunoglobulin having 2 light chain or 2 heavy chain. Here, in multiple myeloma or plasma cell dyscrasia, the plasma cell form the immunoglobulin having only light chain, no heavy chain. I repeat, it is having only light chain. It is having only light chain, no heavy chain. So I cannot call it immunoglobulin. It's not immunoglobulin. It's not antibody, because immunoglobulin or antibody have 2 light chain, 2 heavy chain. It's abnormal protein. I will call it abnormal protein having only light chain. So the macrophage will come. This is the macrophage, and macrophage will try to degrade it. Because it is abnormal protein, but it is only partially degraded. The macrophage only able to partially degrade it, not completely degraded. So partially degraded light chain will deposit in multiple. Now this is amyloid protein. The abnormal protein is formed, and I will call it as amyloid protein. This light chain, it is made up of light chain, amyloid protein. The partially degraded light chain is amyloid protein. It will deposit it in various tissues in human body and produce the disease as amyloidosis, AL type of amyloidosis. I will call this amyloidosis as AL because here light chain deposited in multiple organs. So imagine, what is the trigger here? The trigger is the multiple myeloma or plasma cell dyscrasia. This is the trigger. So in this trigger, the B lymphocytes are mutated. So plasma cells are mutated. So they form only light chain, no heavy chain. So it is abnormal protein. So macrophage will try to degrade it. So partially degraded light chain are formed. And this is the amyloid. This is amyloid here. And it will deposit in multiple organs of human body, producing a disease. It is known as AL type of amyloidosis. This is the pathogenesis. So what is the trigger? The trigger is plasma cell dyscrasia or multiple myeloma. And here the immunoglobulin light chain is actually forming the amyloid. Okay. So same thing is written in the form of the flowchart. What is the trigger? What is the stimulus of the trigger? Multiple myeloma or plasma cell dyscrasia. Here the plasma cells are abnormal. That's why they produce only light chain. What is the name of the light chain? There are 2 types of light chain, kappa or lambda. So either kappa is formed or lambda is formed. But they are not immunoglobulin. So macrophage will come and try to degrade them. But macrophage is able only to partially degrade them. So that's why amyloid will be formed, and that will deposit in various tissues. This is AL type of amyloidosis. The same thing is shown to you here. Okay. Now coming on AA type of amyloid. AA type, the second type. I will show you both here. Let me explain you AA also. Here the trigger. What is the trigger? So we have seen AL. Now I'm teaching you AA type of amyloid. Here the trigger is chronic inflammation. So imagine someone is having some chronic inflammation. Like the person is having TB, the person is having rheumatoid arthritis, or any disorder that is chronic inflammatory. In whatever chronic inflammation, there is one thing which is common. The macrophages get activated. Have you watched my video on chronic inflammation? If not, please watch that. The macrophages get activated, and on activation, the macrophage secretes cytokines in the blood. Cytokines will come in the blood. So all the persons having chronic inflammation, any chronic inflammation in the world, they are having cytokines in their blood. These cytokines will go to the liver and stimulate the liver. So liver will secrete a protein in the blood which is known as SAA. I don't have SAA in my blood because I don't have any chronic inflammatory disorder. But anyone who is having TB or any chronic inflammatory disorder, they have SAA in their blood. Because liver is stimulated and secrete SA. What is SA? Serum amyloid associated protein. We don't have it, but the person with chronic inflammatory disorders have this in their blood. Now it's abnormal protein. So this is abnormal protein, SA. So basically the macrophage will come and try to degrade it. This is the macrophage. It will come and try to degrade this SA. So partially, it is only able to partially degrade it, not completely degrade it. Partially degraded SA is the amyloid. And this will go and deposit it in various organs of human body, producing the type of amyloid. This is known as AA type of amyloid. So this is AA type of amyloid. Here SAA, the partially degraded SAA get deposited everywhere. So this is the pathogenesis. So what is the trigger here? The trigger is chronic inflammatory condition. And here the amyloid is made up of SAA. So here the stimulus, the trigger, the stimulus here is the chronic inflammatory disorder. In chronic inflammatory disorder, the macrophages get activated. They will secrete the cytokines go to the liver will stimulate it, the liver will secrete SAA in the blood. Macrophage will try to do the degradation, they will be able to do the partial degradation. So partially degraded SAA will form AA type of amyloid and get deposited in multiple organs. So same thing is shown to you here. So can we compare the two back to back? So please do the comparison of the two type of amyloid AL and AA. Can you tell me the flowchart of both of them? So start with the trigger. You tell me the trigger of both of them. Here trigger is multiple myeloma or plasma cell dyscrasia. Here the trigger is chronic inflammation. So that is the trigger in both of them. This is the trigger or stimulus of both of them. Then what is happening? You tell me what is happening. Here multiple myeloma, plasma cell dyscrasia, here chronic inflammatory disorder. Here due to multiple myeloma, the B lymphocytes are mutated. So the plasma cells are mutated. Since the plasma cells are mutated, they form only light chain. Only light chain. They do not form the heavy chain. So only light chain is abnormal protein here. The only light chain, it is like this. Only light chain, kappa or lambda, no heavy chain. It's abnormal protein. So macrophage will come and try to degrade it. So macrophage will partially degrade it. Partially degraded. So partially degraded light chain will be formed, and that is AL type of amyloid, and that will get deposited in various tissue. That is AL amyloidosis. What is happening on the other way around? What is happening in AA type? So here in AA type and chronic inflammatory disorder, the macrophage are stimulated. In all chronic inflammatory disorder, they secrete cytokines in the blood. These cytokines will go to the liver and stimulate the liver to secrete a protein. The name of the protein is SAA. We don't have SAA, but the person with chronic inflammatory disorder have SAA in their blood. So SAA is the abnormal protein. It's the abnormal protein like this. It's an abnormal protein like this. So the macrophage will come and try to degrade it. Macrophage will come and try to degrade it. Macrophage is able only to partially degrade it. Partially. So partially degraded SAA is the amyloid here, which will get deposited in various organs and produce the amyloidosis that AA. I tried to super simplify the thing. So here it is made up of light chain. That's why AL type of amyloid. Here it is made up of SAA. That's why AA type of amyloid. I hope I'm crystal clear in my concepts. So draw the flowcharts, people. This is the pathogenesis of the two type of the amyloid. The same thing is shown to you here also. Here we are starting with multiple myeloma. So abnormal plasma cells, they produce only light chain, no heavy chain. So partial degradation produce AL type of amyloid. Here we have chronic inflammation. Macrophages are activated, secreting the cytokines. They are going to the liver. Liver is secreting SAA. Partially degradation of the SAA produce AA type of amyloid. I hope I'm crystal clear in my concepts. Now, coming on the diagnosis of amyloidosis. How you do the diagnosis of amyloidosis? Only one way. In amyloidosis, there is no blood test. You have to do biopsy. You have to do biopsy. So this is the person, and I'm suspecting the person is having amyloidosis. So what is the organ involved in amyloidosis? You say, ma'am, there are two types of amyloidosis, localized and systemic. If it is localized, one organ is involved. But if it is systemic, multiple organs are involved. So most common amyloidosis, AL and AA, both of them are systemic, in which multiple organs are involved. So amyloid get deposited in multiple organs of the body. So if a person is coming to me with multiple organ failure, so I'm suspecting for example, there is a person with multiple myeloma. In future, the person have multiple organ failure. So I'm suspecting this person is having amyloidosis. Okay. Now, what should I do for diagnosis? For diagnosis, there is no blood test. I have to do biopsy. The next question which arises in my mind is that which organ biopsy? It is a multiple organ disease now. So which organ biopsy is the best to do? So there are two best biopsy. Either do the biopsy from abdominal fat. That is the best. Or do the biopsy from rectum, where there are maximum chances you will get the amyloid deposition. So whenever there is a systemic amyloidosis and amyloid get deposited in various organs, multiple organs, best to do biopsy from two places. One of the two places, I mean. Either from the abdominal fat pad or from the rectum. Other sites you can also choose, but the best is abdominal fat pad and rectum. So, okay, I have done the biopsy. Now, what should I do? You can use 5 different stains to see the biopsy. On the biopsy, you can do HNE. On HNE, the amyloid look pink in color. You can use methyl volate or crystal volate. So here the amylite also look pink in color. Again, rose pink or pink in color. You can use Congo red. The ultra important is Congo red. I will give you the details of Congo red. In Congo red, we can use two different microscope. If you are using a light microscope, the amylite is still pink in color. Here also pink, here also pink, here also pink. But if you use a polarized microscope, the amylite look apple green in color. I will show you the images. If you are using thioflavin T or S, I mean fluorescent stain, the amylite look fluorescent. And if we are using immunohistochemistry, the amylite we will be able to detect the specific type of amylite. So is it AL, is it A? We can use the specific antibodies to highlight that. So learn the name of these 5 stains, I mean learn this table. So learn the name of these 5 stains. So what happens if we are doing HNE? What is the color of the amylite? What happens if we are using crystal violet or methyl violet? What is the color of the amylite? What if we are using Congo red? What if we are using the thioflavin T and S? Thioflavin T and S, that is fluorescent stains. And what if we are using immunohistochemistry? So tell me the color of amylite in all of them. Here it is pink. Here also it is pink. Here there are two possibilities. If we are using light microscopy, what is the color? If we are using polarized microscopy, what is the color? On light microscopy, still pink. Pink, pink, pink. But on polarized microscopy, it is apple green in color. I will show you the detail. Thioflavin, it will look fluorescent colors, different fluorescent color. And here, it will give the specific type of the amylite. So you have to learn this table, and from this table, you have to write this table in your exam. Congo red, we will see in detail. We will see in detail the Congo red. Let me explain the Congo red. Listen. So this is the person in my clinic, and the person is having multiple organ failure. I'm assuming the person is having amyloidosis. What should I do? Say, ma'am, do biopsy. Do biopsy. If you're suspecting amyloidosis, you want to confirm amyloidosis, do the biopsy. From where should I do the biopsy? Say, ma'am, two sides. Either do it from abdominal fat pad or do from the rectum. So I have done the biopsy. Okay, for example, I have done the biopsy. So this is the core of my biopsy. This is the core of my biopsy. So what should I do? Take a slide. This is the slide I have taken, and this is the biopsy I have taken on the slide. So this is my biopsy. I have taken it on the slide. Now what I will do? I will do Congo red on this. I'm doing Congo red on this. I'm doing a stain that is Congo red. I'm staining this biopsy with Congo red. Okay. Now, which microscope I'm using to visualize it? I will see the slide in some microscope. Now, with my naked eyes, I cannot see that. So I require some microscope. So there are two types of microscope. I'm using light microscope or I'm using polarized microscope. In light microscope, the bulb is containing the visible light. Visible light will falling on this biopsy. In polarized microscope, the polarized light is falling on the biopsy. So the color of amylite is different in both. So if we are using a light microscope, the color of the amylite is pink. You will see wherever amylite is available inside this biopsy, it will look pink, 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 pink. And if we are using the polarized microscope, it will look apple green in color. So whatever was pink, it is converted into apple green. So pink, 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 pink get converted wherever it was pink. The same thing converted into apple green. So take the same slide. Just suppose I'm having two microscopes. This is my light microscope. This is my polarized microscope. So I'm having a slide in my hand. Imagine I'm having a slide in my hand. For example, this is my slide, and it is having the biopsy of my patient. So this is my slide having the biopsy of my patient. I have stained it properly with a Congo red. Now I'm applying the slide in a light microscope and examining it. So I'm seeing extracellular deposit pink color. And I'm taking out the same slide and putting it under polarized microscope. Now wherever it was pink, extracellular pink, the extracellular green will be there. So the pink color converted into green. So my diagnosis will be super confirmed. So it is a very specific stain, Congo red. Stain is same. It is Congo red only. The microscope is different. Stain is same. The slide have the biopsy and I have stained it with Congo red. Now I'm examining under light microscope. The amylite look pink in color. Amylite is extracellular. So extracellular pink deposit. Whatever organ biopsy is it. And the same slide I'm looking under polarized microscope. So here extracellular green deposits are seen. So whatever pink was there, it is converted into green. Same slide. So it's like that. I hope my concepts are crystal clear. See here. See. So same slide. You are looking in light microscope and same slide you are looking in polarized microscope. So you can see here, let me highlight, you can see here, you can see the pink deposits extracellular, see the pinkiness. You can see the pinkishness, the pinkish deposits which are extracellularly. Whatever pink is here, it get converted to green here. Can you see here? Whatever pink is here, the corresponding green, it's the same slide. It's the same slide. Pink get converted to green. Whatever pink is there, So corresponding areas, you can match the corresponding areas. It is green in color. Pink, pink, pink get converted to green, green, green. So you have to draw two, duplicate the two twin slides, On one, the pink color, amyloid look pink color, and on one, the amyloid is looking apple green color. So in visible light, that is light microscope, visible light is the light microscope. So on light microscope, it is pink in color. I'm sorry. It is looking pink in color. And on polarized microscope, in polarized light, it is looking apple green birefringes. Actually, it is apple green birefringes. See, I will show you a video. So same slide, I'm looking. This is the same slide. I'm looking first in light microscope, so it is pink. And the same slide, I'm looking in polarized microscope. So whatever pink was there, it converted to apple green. So it is the same slide. So you can see pink is getting converted to apple green birefringes. So on light microscope, which contain visible light, the amyloid look pink in color. And on polarized microscope, which contain polarized light, the amyloid look apple green in color. So it is the same slide which we are examining in two different microscopes, so giving two different colors. So that is the thing. This is apple green birefringes I'm talking about. So on light microscope, it is apple green birefringes. You can appreciate the birefringes here. So that is the zoom version you can see. Now, the last thing I would like to tell you the various organs affected in amyloidosis. So I will discuss 7 organs here one by one. Let's start with the first organ, kidney, followed by heart, spleen, liver, adrenal, tongue, and brain. You get a separate question on kidney and spleen in your exam on amyloidosis. You get a short question, amyloid kidney or amyloid spleen. You get like that. And if it is a long question, you have to write all. Let's start with amyloid kidney. So as I told you, amyloid get deposited in multiple organs of body. It's a systemic disease. So the kidney is the most common organ involved and it's the most serious organ involved. So most commonly amyloid deposited in kidney in throughout the body. Most commonly. It is most common as well as most serious organ involved. So in the kidney, where does the amyloid get deposited? It is, can you see in the kidney, this is the glomerulus. This is the glomerulus. You all can appreciate. In the glomerulus, these are the basement membrane. So can you see the pink color deposited outside the basement membrane? So it is deposited in the basement membrane. Please appreciate. It is depositing in the basement membrane. Can you see the basement membrane getting thickened? Appreciate this pink color. Appreciate this pink, extracellular pink color around the capillaries. So this is the thickened basement membrane. So in the kidney, it is causing the thickening of the glomerular basement membrane. This is HNE. This is an HNE on which the amyloid looks pink in color. Okay, now I have done the Congo red. This is Congo red. Congo red in light microscope and Congo red in polarized microscope. So on light microscope, still it is pink in color. And in polarized, whatever pink get converted to green. So here we have done HNE and Congo red. Congo red in light microscope and polarized microscope. That is the kidneys. You have to draw all these in your exam. Okay. Heart is the second most common organ which is involved. Kidney is the most common organ involved. Heart is the second most common organ involved. Can you see these are the myocardium? These are the cells of the myocardium normally. And see here in amyloidosis, this is myocardium. So between the two myocardium, extracellularly, you can see these deposits, the yellow deposits. This is amyloidosis. So here it is the second most common organ involved. Kidney is most common, heart is second most common. Third is spleen. In the spleen, do you know what is normal spleen? In the normal spleen, we have capsule. Okay, this is the capsule of the normal spleen. We have two pulps in the spleen, the white pulp and the red pulp. What do you mean by that? The lymphocytes are forming the follicles. These are the follicles formed by the lymphocytes. These are the follicles which are formed by the lymphocytes. This is white pulp. The lymphocytes forming the follicle, it is known as white pulp. And between the lymphocytes, we have multiple sinusoids or the capillaries. Multiple sinusoids. This is red pulp. So we have two pulp. What are the two pulp? This is white pulp in the spleen and this is red pulp. The red pulp is the sinusoids. Of course, it's blood, it's capillary. And white pulp is the follicle. Now in the spleen, the amyloid can deposit at both the places. Amyloid can get deposited at the white pulp also. If it is depositing at the white pulp like this. So amyloid is looking like dot, 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 dot. So it is looking as sago. Do you know what is sago? In Hindi, it is known as sabudana. Sabudana. Have you seen? It's a grain. It's a small grain having a white color, small nodules. So sabudana. So it is known as sago spleen because the amyloid get deposited like this in the white pulp. But if the amyloid get deposited in the red pulp, let me show you. In the red pulp, amyloid get deposited in the red pulp here. It's like this. It's like this. It's not sago. The spleen will enlarge in size. In that case, the spleen is known as lordosis. Lordoceus. Lordoceus means enlarged spleen. Let me show you the two diagrams. So can you see this is normal spleen? In the normal spleen, you can see this is white pulp. Appreciate the white pulp is in the form of the follicles. And the background is the red pulp. Between the white pulp, you can see the sinusoid. The sinusoid is the red pulp. Now, amyloid can deposit in the white pulp also, in the red pulp also. If the amyloid get deposited in the white pulp, can you see this is the deposition? This is the deposition. Appreciate. White. Amyloid get deposited in the white pulp. It is looking like sago. Sago is sabudana. It's the grain having white nodules. So the spleen is looking like sabudana. It is known as sago spleen. What it is known as sago spleen. And in lordoceus spleen, if the amyloid get deposited in the not in white pulp but in red pulp in the background, so spleen become enlarged in size. Such an enlarged spleen is known as lordoceus spleen. So the summary is that in the spleen, the amyloid get deposited in the white pulp also. It can deposit in the red pulp also. If it is getting deposited in white pulp, it is known as sago spleen. And if it is deposited in red pulp, it is known as lordoceus spleen. So please learn it. You get MCQs also and you have to write it. That is spleen. Now in the liver. In the liver, amyloid get deposited in space of Disse. I assume you know what is space of Disse. So you can see this extracellular pink deposit in the space of Disse. In the space of the Disse. In the adrenal, there are three zones. Zona glomerulosa, zona fasciculata and zona reticularis. Where does amyloid get deposited? It is known as GFR. Glomerulosa, fasciculata and reticularis. GFR. It is deposited in G. Amyloid get deposited in glomerulosa, not in fasciculata, not in reticularis. In the tongue, it can deposit and produce the macroglycia. The tongue become enlarged in size. And in the brain, it occurs in Alzheimer's disease. Can you see here? I have shown you this diagram. This is the amyloid getting deposited in the brain extracellularly between the neurons. It is compressing the neurons and produces symptoms. So that's all about it. So we are done about everything about the amyloidosis. Now, if the long question is coming, I guess you are able to write everything. But the only thing you have to learn the headings under which you have to describe your answer. So first define amyloidosis. It's the abnormal disease in which an abnormal protein get deposited in multiple organs. The name of the abnormal protein is amyloid. Physical nature, you have to describe what happens on electron microscopy and what happens on X-ray crystallography. On electron microscopy, it is fibrils, which are indefinite length, and you know the diameter. And here it is beta pleated sheath structure. Okay. Types of amyloid, I told you the 9 types. Enumerate all 9. Now, classification based on the cause, it is primary, secondary. Based on the extent, it is localized and systemic. 4 of them are localized and 5 of them are localized and 4 of them are systemic. Total 9. Now, I told you the pathogenesis of AL and pathogenesis of AA. Here, start the story from multiple myeloma or plasma cell dyscrasia, continue the flowchart. Here, start the story from chronic inflammatory disorder and continue the flowchart. Diagnosis, only one diagnosis, biopsy. On biopsy, do 5 stains, out of which the most important is Congo red. Explain Congo red in detail. Congo red, what happens on light microscope, what happens on polarized microscope, draw the diagrams and explain it. That is the staining characteristics. Organ affected, there are total 7 organs I have described, which are important, but the most important is kidney, in which it is deposited in the glomerular basement membrane. And second most important is the spleen, in which it can deposit in the white pulp producing sago spleen, or it can deposit in the red pulp producing lordoceus spleen. So don't forget to have a look on long question, short question, very short question and MCQs of this topic. It's an ultra important 5-star important topic for your university exams. Don't forget it. So have a look on the questions right now so that you become confident. Okay, thank you so much.